The streets thought they knew the whole story. But King Von's sister just turned the narrative upside down with a revelation so explosive it's leaving fans, insiders, and even investigators stunned. For months, whispers circled about what really happened the night Von's life was cut short. Whispers of missing details, hidden shooters, and a truth too dangerous to speak. Now, Von's sister has shattered the silence. In a chilling interview laced with raw emotion, she claims there wasn't just one shooter that night, but a second gunman whose name has been deliberately buried until now. Her words weren't vague. They were sharp, deliberate, and delivered with a pain that made the entire room freeze. Social media is in flames. Clips of her confession are going viral, with hashtags like #SecondShooter and #Justice for Von climbing trends. Fans are demanding answers, blogs are dissecting every frame, and insiders are hinting that the truth she just exposed could reignite the entire case. So who was this second shooter? Why has their identity been hidden for so long? And what does Von's sister know that the rest of the world was never supposed to hear? Stay locked in, because what she just revealed changes everything to understand why King Von's sister's revelation has the entire hip-hop world trembling. We need to rewind the clock and revisit the chaos, the heartbreak, and the mystery that has surrounded Von's death since day one. Because this isn't just another tragedy, this is a story that has haunted fans, divided the streets, and left a trail of unanswered questions that refuse to die. King Von wasn't just another rapper. He was the voice of Chicago's trenches, a storyteller who transformed pain into raw poetry. From his breakout tracks to his rise on the OTF label alongside Lil Durk, Von became a symbol of survival and authenticity. He wasn't rapping for clout, he was rapping his life. That's why his death in 2020 didn't just sting. It shattered an entire generation of fans who saw him as more than an artist. The night it happened is still etched in people's minds. Outside an Atlanta nightclub, a confrontation spiraled out of control. Shots rang out. Von collapsed. Within minutes, the news spread King Von was gone. Almost immediately, the narrative was set. One shooter. One tragic end. The headlines wrote themselves. The blogs recycled the same story, and the case seemed closed. But to those who were there, to Von's family, his crew, and fans who analyzed every frame of surveillance footage, something never added up. The whispers begin from the very beginning. The streets whispered about inconsistencies. The angles of the footage, the chaos of the crowd, the way Von moved, nothing sat right. Some fans swore they saw shadows, figures moving in the background, suggesting more than one gunman was present. But every time those questions were raised, they were shut down. Official reports focused on a single shooter. Media outlets painted it as a simple story. And for years, the possibility of a second shooter was dismissed as nothing more than conspiracy. Until now, why Von's sister's voice matters. Von's sister has always been a fierce defender of his name, his legacy, and his truth. She's called out bloggers for misinformation, confronted critics who tried to rewrite Von's story, and stood as the loudest voice demanding justice. So when she speaks, fans listen. That's what makes her latest revelation so earth-shattering. This isn't a random fan theory. This isn't a YouTube conspiracy. This is family. Blood. Someone who was close enough to Von to know the things outsiders could never piece together in her recent tell-all. Her voice cracked with pain, but carried with conviction. She didn't just say there might have been a second shooter, she claimed it outright. And the way she described it, it wasn't speculation. It sounded like she had proof that the culture shaken hip-hop is no stranger to tragedy. But Von's death hit differently. He wasn't just rising, he was ascending, carrying the drill sound onto a global stage. Fans already felt robbed of what could have been. Now, to hear his sister suggest the story they've been told is incomplete. That's a wound reopening in the most painful way possible. Blogs are already running wild. Forums are packed with theories. Some are reanalyzing the original footage frame by frame, convinced they missed something. Others are demanding a reinvestigation, arguing that if Vaughn's sister is right, justice has not truly been served. The stakes end. This is where things get dangerous. Because what Vaughn's sister just revealed isn't just emotional. It could have legal, cultural, and even violent consequences. Naming a second shooter means pointing to someone who has been living free. Someone who thought their involvement was buried forever. If her claims are true, the streets won't stay quiet. OTF won't stay quiet. And the fans. They're already mobilizing, demanding that the truth come out, no matter how ugly it gets. When Vaughn's sister finally sat down and let the words spill, the room fell silent. This wasn't gossip. This wasn't speculation. This was a bombshell confession. Her eyes welled with tears as she leaned closer to the mic and dropped a line that froze everyone watching. They told y'all it was one shooter. But that's not the truth. There was a second one. I know it. I saw things that night that nobody's talked about. They've been hiding it. The moment those words left her lips, the internet detonated the exact words. That shook the room. Vaughn's sister described the chaos of that night outside the Atlanta nightclub in chilling detail. She talked about how the first shots rang out, the crowd scattered, and the panic swallowed everything in seconds. But then she said something that changed the entire narrative. I remember hearing shots coming from two different spots. It wasn't just one gun going off. And when I looked, I saw somebody move funny in the shadows. Somebody that nobody ever mentioned. Somebody who disappeared when all eyes went on the main suspect. Her voice cracked, but her tone was steady. This wasn't a sister spinning a theory. It sounded like a survivor recounting trauma. The internet reacts clips of her revelation went viral instantly. Within an hour, the hashtag second shooter hit trending. Blogs scrambled to cover the story. Podcasts replayed her words on loop, and TikTokers began splicing her interview over footage of Vaughn's last night. One viral. TikTok racked up 8 million views overnight. It showed slowed-down footage of the altercation outside the club with her voice layered over it. The caption read, "Did we all miss this?" Comment sections were flooded with fans, dissecting angles, shadows, and movements they swore proved her right. Twitter threads popped up with side-by-side comparisons of gunfire sounds, arguing that two different calibers could be heard. Fans who once dismissed the theory as a conspiracy suddenly weren't so sure. The pain in her voice, what made the revelation even more powerful, wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. You could hear the grief dripping from every word. She wasn't just chasing clout. She wasn't trying to build a headline. She was a sister fighting to keep her brother's story alive. "I can't sleep knowing they lied," she admitted. "They told us the case was done. They told us to move on. But how can I move on when I know somebody else pulled that trigger too? My brother didn't deserve that. And the world deserves to know." Her words cut deeper than any rap lyric ever could. This wasn't entertainment. This was raw. Unfiltered trauma turned into testimony. The first twist, a hidden name, but then came the twist that nobody saw coming. After pausing, visibly debating with herself whether to say more, Vaughn's sister dropped something heavier than anyone expected. She didn't outright name the second shooter, but she gave a chilling clue. "All I'll say is this," she whispered. "It wasn't a stranger. It wasn't some random. It was someone close. Too close. Somebody we all trusted." The room gasped. The interviewer's face froze. And the internet went insane. Fans immediately began speculating. Who could she mean? Was she pointing toward someone in the crew? Someone in the industry? A supposed ally? The ambiguity drove social media wild. Everyone wanted names. Everyone wanted answers. Everyone wanted answers. Theories spread like wildfire within hours. Twitter threads were flooded with theories. Some fans dug into old footage, suggesting familiar faces who were at the scene. Others pointed to cryptic Instagram lives from OTF affiliates in the days after Vaughn's death. Reading between the lines for hints, Reddit exploded with detective work. One thread titled, "Who was Vaughn's sister talking about?" gained over 50,000 upvotes overnight. Posters broke down every second of the surveillance videos, syncing audio with gunfire bursts, swearing that her claim about 2 different guns matched what they'd been saying for years. Even YouTube creators jumped in, dropping hour-long breakdowns titled things like, "The second shooter theory. Vaughn's sister confirms it. Vaughn's crew caught off guard, but it wasn't just fans who reacted." Insiders whispered that Vaughn's crew OTF was blindsided by her confession. Some allegedly felt she said too much, too soon. Others quietly admitted they'd always believed more happened that night than the public was. One anonymous source told a blog, "We knew. Some of us always knew. But saying it out loud, that changes everything." And that's the exact point. Her words didn't just reopen old wounds. They cracked the door open to a storm that could drag names, reputations, and entire legacies through the fire. The shockwave through hip-hop industry couldn't ignore it either. Rappers began posting cryptic responses. Some showed solidarity with Vaughn's sister, using hashtags like #JusticeForVaughn. Others stayed quiet, fueling speculation about what they might know. Fans noticed that a few major artists suddenly deleted old posts with Vaughn. Theories erupted that they were distancing themselves from the heat of what was about to surface. Blogs framed it as a turning point, the moment the culture realized Vaughn's story wasn't finished, but paused, waiting for the truth to fully come out. The internet was already in flames from Vaughn's sister's emotional confession. But the chaos only escalated when whispers of receipts started surfacing. Suddenly, it wasn't just her word against the world. Insiders began hinting that hard evidence messages, footage, even audio existed that could prove everything she said about a second shooter. And that's when the culture went into complete meltdown. The rumored evidence set started with a blurry screenshot circulating on Twitter. An anonymous account dropped what appeared to be a text thread from the night of Vaughn's death. The texts, allegedly between 2 people at the scene, included one chilling line: "Bro, there was 2 guns. You saw a dude in the hoodie too, right? Don't say nothing." The screenshot went viral instantly. Within hours, fans were convinced this was the smoking gun, proof that Vaughn's sister wasn't just speaking out of grief, but confirming a truth people had tried to bury. But then came something even more explosive. A short, cute, muffled audio clip leaked on Reddit. In it, voices shouted amid gunfire. Fans swore they could hear 2 distinct calibers, one deeper, one sharper. Audio engineers on YouTube quickly uploaded breakdowns, isolating the sound waves to argue there were indeed 2 shooters firing that night suddenly. Vaughn's sister's revelation didn't feel like speculation. It felt like confirmation. The internet exploded, social media went nuclear. TikTok filled with side-by-side edits of the leaked audio next to the original surveillance footage. Captions flashing, "We were lied to." One video showed slowed-down footage with text overlay, "Watch the left corner." That's the second shooter she's talking about. It racked up 12 million views in under 24 hours. Twitter hashtags #secondshooter and #JusticeForVaughn surged again, while #WhoWasIt trended worldwide as fans demanded names. On Instagram, Vaughn's fans flooded the comments of big-name rappers, asking directly, "What do you know? Who was there?" The pressure was spreading far beyond blogs and forums. It was seeping into the industry itself. Celebrities, React celebrities, and fellow rappers couldn't stay silent. Lil Durk, still carrying the pain of losing his brother in arms, posted a cryptic story. They know what they did. God watching. Fans instantly tied it to Von's sister's claims, interpreting it as a veiled acknowledgement of the second shooter. Meek Mill tweeted, "Too much been covered up in this game. The truth always finds a way out." 50 Cent went even further, posting a meme of Von with the caption, "They ain't ready for what's coming." But not everyone was supportive. Some rappers, especially those linked to Atlanta, stayed eerily quiet. Their silence only fueled more speculation, with fans accusing them of protecting the hidden name. The industry in panic behind the scenes. ANDUSTRY insiders reportedly scrambled. A well-known Atlanta blogger claimed he was threatened after hinting that he knew the identity of the second shooter. One insider told a hip-hop outlet, "Labels don't want this to come out. If the second shooter is who people think, it'll tear the industry apart." Suddenly, what was once dismissed as conspiracy theories started looking like the potential unraveling of a cover-up, and it wasn't just about the streets anymore. It was about protecting reputations, money, and entire careers. Von's sister doubles down as the storm raged. Von's sister returned to social media with a fiery Instagram Live. Her eyes were swollen from crying, but her voice was steady. "Y'all see the proof. I ain't crazy. I ain't lying. They've been covering this up, but God don't let lies last forever. My brother ain't gonna die in vain. I'm speaking for him because he can't speak for himself." Her words cut straight through the noise. Fans flooded her comments with support, demanding that the hidden name finally be exposed. The shocking reveal. Then came the moment that turned shock into outright hysteria. A YouTube channel dropped what they claimed was exclusive surveillance footage, an alternate angle from the same night, though blurry and shaky. The clip appeared to show a second figure in a dark hoodie raising a gun from a different position than the identified shooter. The uploader captioned it, "Second shooter confirmed." The footage spread across platforms like wildfire. Blogs reposted it. Fans froze frames, circled figures, and slowed it down to 0.25x speed. Convinced it showed the mysterious gunman Von's sister had alluded to. Whether real or fabricated, the damage was done. The public was convinced. The first name drops here's where the chaos truly reached its peak. A controversial Twitter account with a history of breaking stories dropped a name. While we won't repeat the speculation here, the internet erupted instantly, with fans tagging that individual nonstop, demanding answers. The accused denied it quickly, posting, "Y'all spreading lies. I wasn't even there." But the denial didn't slow the storm. Fans plastered old photos, videos, and posts, trying to tie threads together. Some swore they saw the accused in background footage from that night. The narrative was spiraling out of control, and there was no stopping it. The second shooter theory wasn't just trending anymore, it was consuming the culture. Every platform, every podcast, every barbershop debate was caught in the storm that Von's sister had unleashed. The shockwaves weren't confined to fans either. The industry itself was splitting in half, with some siding with Von's sister's truth and others scrambling to protect themselves from the chaos. Fans turned into investigators. Twitter or X looked like a digital crime scene board. Fans weren't just speculating anymore, they were dissecting every second of the leaked footage. The texts and the audio clips like professional detectives. Threads with hundreds of thousands of likes broke down frame by frame analysis of the second shooter's alleged shadow. On TikTok, edits popped up by the thousands. Some videos zoomed in on the mysterious hoodie figure, while others overlaid Von's sister's quotes with ominous music, giving the revelations a chilling cinematic feel. Reddit was even wilder. One megathread simply titled "The Hidden Shooter" exploded with conspiracy maps, linking old posts, deleted photos, and cryptic Instagram lives. Theories stretched so far they felt unbelievable. But in the current climate, fans were ready to believe anything. Celebrities take sides then. The celebrity reactions came pouring in, and they only added fuel to the fire. Lil Durk posted another cryptic message. "I ain't gonna say too much, but God don't sleep." Fans reposted it everywhere, interpreting it as his way of backing his sister-in-law's claim without saying her name. Meek Mill went live on Instagram, saying, "Y'all think Von's sister lying. She closer to this than any of us. She knows things they don't want out." Meanwhile, other artists stayed quiet. Some even deleted old posts with Von, leading fans to accuse them of trying to distance themselves before more names got dragged. The silence spoke volumes. 50 Cent stirred the pot with another meme, showing Von smiling with the caption, "The truth always comes to the light." That one post alone racked up millions of views in hours. But perhaps the most shocking reaction came from a mainstream celebrity outside of hip-hop. A-list actress Taraji P. Henson tweeted, "This young man's death never sat right with me. His sister is brave for speaking out. Hashtag Justice for Van." Her words amplified the conversation far beyond rap fans, pushing it into the mainstream spotlight. News outlets pick it up what? Started on blogs and forums, now made its way to the national stage. CNN ran a segment titled, "New Allegations in King Von Shooting." MSNBC discussed whether the cover-up theory could be credible. Even TMZ splashed a headline, "King Von's sister suggests second shooter, internet explodes." Hip-hop media couldn't keep up. Complex XXL and Hot New Hip Hop all published back-to-back pieces analyzing the leaks. Some hinted at serious implications for certain unnamed figures in the industry. Suddenly, what was once dismissed as fan conspiracy had the weight of mainstream validation. The industry cracks behind the scenes. Insiders claimed panic was setting in. A well-known blogger revealed that labels were holding emergency meetings, terrified that names linked to the alleged second shooter could derail careers, tours, and deals. Promoters started whispering too. Some feared that Von's sister's claims could reignite street-level tensions, threatening concerts, festivals, and live events. One promoter allegedly said, "If this gets bigger, it ain't just music. It's a security issue." The fear was real, and it wasn't just about reputations. Money was on the line. Fans pushed for justice, but through all the chaos, one thing stood tall: the fans. They weren't letting this story fade. They organized Twitter spaces, calling for renewed investigations. They spammed officials with hashtags like #ReopenThese and #SecondShooterTruth. Some even began circulating petitions demanding justice for Von, arguing that if new evidence and testimony were surfacing, authorities had a responsibility to revisit the case. For many, this wasn't just about conspiracy anymore. It was about closure, about giving Von's legacy the justice it deserved. The divide yet, the industry, was clearly split. On one side stood Von's sister Durk, supportive fans and celebrities willing to amplify the story. On the other side, silence. Big names avoiding the conversation, shady deletions, and whispered denials. The divide left one terrifying question hanging in the air. Was this about to become bigger than music? Von's sister had already shaken the industry to its core, but everyone could sense she wasn't finished. The energy online felt like the calm before a storm, the kind of silence that means something big is about to break. And then, during a late-night Instagram Live, she leaned forward, looked directly into the camera, and whispered the words that made millions hold their breath. "Y'all want the truth. I'm ready to tell it. I know exactly who that second shooter was." The comments section exploded. Hearts and fire emojis lit the screen, while fans spammed "Say the Name" over and over again. But she didn't drop it, not yet. Instead, she gave a cryptic clue. It wasn't no stranger. It wasn't no outsider. It was somebody Vaughn trusted. Somebody that smiled in his face. The internet immediately froze. Theories multiplied faster than ever. Who was she talking about? Was it a crew member? A supposed friend? A figure in the industry with something to gain? The ambiguity was suffocating, and fans couldn't look away. The pressure builds blogs and gossip pages reposted her words within minutes, spinning theories and promising exclusive investigations. YouTubers went live with titles like "Vaughn's Sister About to Drop the Name." Thousands tuned in, desperate for the reveal. Meanwhile, Twitter was ruthless. A new hashtag trended worldwide. #WhoShotVaughn. Fans tagged anyone even remotely connected to that night, demanding explanations. Some artists began receiving so much heat they were forced to turn off their comments entirely. It wasn't just a fan movement anymore. It was a cultural manhunt. The industry in panic behind the scenes. Panic set in. A source close to an Atlanta label claimed phones were ringing off the hook as managers and publicists tried to prepare for damage control. If she names him, it's over. One insider allegedly said, "Careers will end. Relationships will collapse." This isn't just about Vaughn anymore. This is about survival. Even security experts began weighing in, warning that if she publicly outed the second shooter, the streets themselves could erupt. Old tensions could reignite, leading to retaliation, chaos, and violence that nobody could contain. Her final hint, but the most chilling moment, came when Vaughn's sister closed her live with a single cryptic line. "The truth is bigger than y'all think." When it comes out, you'll see this wasn't no random tragedy. This was a setup. That single sentence flipped the conversation upside down. No longer was it just about identifying a second shooter. Now it was about a plot, a betrayal, a setup that could drag entire crews, labels, and alliances into the fire. And now we're left standing at the edge of the cliff. King Vaughn's sister has spoken. The internet has erupted, and the industry is trembling. What began as whispers of inconsistencies has exploded into a storm of leaks, cryptic posts, and a revelation so raw it could change the story forever. The claim of a second shooter. But the biggest question remains, what happens when she finally drops the name? Will the streets accept the truth, or will it ignite a war that nobody can control? Will the industry step up to protect the guilty, or will this force a reckoning that exposes the darkest secrets behind Vaughn's death? And most of all, who really set Vaughn up that night? The only thing clear is this: the story isn't over. It's only getting more dangerous. The hints, the leaks, the cryptic clues, they all point to something bigger than we imagined. This isn't just about one night in Atlanta. This is about trust, betrayal, and the lengths people will go to keep the truth buried. But what do you believe? Was Vaughn's sister right about the second shooter? Do you think this was a setup by someone close? Or is the truth still hiding in the shadows? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't hold back. The debate is already raging, and your voice matters in it. Smash that like button if you're standing with Vaughn's sister. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because when the next revelation drops, you'll want to be the first to hear it. Because one thing's for sure, the truth is coming. And when it does, the entire hip-hop world will never be the same. Pop world will never be the same.